In January 2017, a newlywed couple checked into a luxury resort in Honolulu, Hawaii, ready to begin their life together. 4 days later, only one of them would be seen again. What began as a romantic honeymoon ended in bloodshed, deception, and a dismembered body in a floating suitcase. This is the story of Tate Nordenstam, a young man full of dreams, a tropical paradise turned crime scene, and the wife who shocked the world. Tate Nordenstam was 35 years old when he was killed. He lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he worked as a commercial drone technician. Tate had a big smile, told lots of corny jokes, and loved adventure. People who knew him said he was kind, always curious, and had endless energy. He had a small YouTube channel where he posted videos about tech gadgets, travel tips, and drone tutorials. His videos didn't get millions of views, but his followers enjoyed his mix of humor and honest advice. Tate especially loved filming with his new camera. He often mounted it to his chest or his drone and captured skydiving, biking, and even smoothie making. Mango smoothies were his favorite, and he joked online that he needed one to start every day. He dreamed of turning his YouTube channel into a full-time job, traveling the world with his gear and his wife. Tate met Kirsten Nordenstam, née Wiggin, his future wife, at a party. They dated for 9 months before getting married in early January 2017. Their wedding took place on a quiet beach in Oahu, with just close family and friends in attendance. They checked into the Waikiki Beach Resort on January 13, 2017. The hotel was located steps from the sand, with a rooftop pool, smoothie bar, and easy access to tours like the Shipwreck Dive and Pearl Harbor Memorial. Staff remembered Tate as friendly and talkative. He was almost always seen carrying a camera, often barefoot, with his signature aviator sunglasses pushed up on his forehead. In the days before he vanished, Tate was hard at work on a new video called Married in Paradise. It was meant to be a fun, upbeat travel vlog covering their honeymoon adventures. He had hours of footage showing hikes to Manoa Falls, drone shots over Diamond Head, and funny clips of him trying poke bowls for the first time. He talked about wanting it to be the video that took his channel to the next level. But Tate never finished the edit. On day 4 of the honeymoon, Tate disappeared. And just a few days later, part of his body was found floating in a pink suitcase off the coast of Honolulu. On the morning of January 18, 2017, at about 7:15 a.m., a local fisherman named Kikoakoa Hikikia was getting ready for his usual day on the water near the Ala Moana boat harbor in Honolulu, Hawaii. The sun was just rising and the water was calm. As Koa walked along the dock, he noticed something floating in the shallow waves. It was a pink Samsonite suitcase, the kind used for travel. It looked out of place in the water, and it was slowly spinning as it bumped against a piling. Koa used a long net to pull the suitcase out of the water. He placed it on the dock and noticed it felt unusually heavy. Thinking it might have been tossed from a cruise ship or stolen and dumped, he unzipped it to see what was inside. What he found made him stumble back in shock. Inside the suitcase were human body parts, arms and legs that had been cut with sharp, clean lines. They were wrapped in thick, white hotel towels. The suitcase was soaked, and the smell was terrible. There was no head and nothing inside that showed who the person was. Koa, shaking and breathing hard, quickly used his flip phone to call 911. He had never seen anything like it before. Dispatcher stayed on the line while he waited for help. He sat on the dock and kept people away, afraid someone else might see the terrible sight. Within 10 minutes, officers from the Honolulu Police Department arrived at the scene. They quickly taped off the area and moved beachgoers and walkers away from the dock. Officers secured the suitcase and took it to the city morgue. Police were careful with how they moved the remains so they wouldn't lose any evidence. The suitcase itself was important. The police did a full sweep of the harbor, checking nearby docks, trash bins, and even water drains. Divers were called in to search under the dock, and drone footage was used to scan the surrounding shoreline. By noon, crime scene vans lined the nearby street, and news helicopters hovered above. The pink suitcase was the only clue they had at the time. But what was inside would start a chain of events that led the police to a brutal honeymoon murder. Honolulu Police Department detectives Leimomi Vila and Joselito Joe Ramos were the first lead detectives to arrive at the Ala Moana boat harbor that morning. Both were experienced. Detective Lahela, in her 40s, was known for being calm, organized, and thoughtful in her work. Detective Ramos, 53, was more direct, known for asking tough questions and never missing small details. The pink Samsonite suitcase found by fisherman Koa Hikikia was carefully photographed and taken into evidence. It was zipped shut but waterlogged, and inside were body parts from a man, 2 arms and 2 legs. They had been cut cleanly, likely by someone with knowledge of anatomy or at least access to proper tools. Wrapped tightly around the limbs were white towels embroidered with the logo of the Waikiki Beach Resort, the same hotel popular with honeymooners and families visiting Oahu in January. What shocked the police was the lack of blood. There was no blood pooling inside the suitcase, which told the detectives that the cutting was not done there. Instead, the body had been prepared somewhere else, possibly a hotel room, then wrapped and packed later. This detail raised serious alarms about premeditation. The body was sent to the Honolulu Medical Examiner's office for further examination. Dr. Emiko Ahura, the lead forensic pathologist, confirmed the victim had been stabbed 17 times in the chest. The wounds had a jagged edge pattern, suggesting the use of a serrated dive knife. A later toxicology test showed that the victim had high levels of zolpidem, the main ingredient in Ambien, a sleep aid. This meant he had likely been drugged before he was attacked. The cuts made after death showed signs of being done with a bone saw, a tool used in both construction and veterinary surgery. Meanwhile, police detectives began gathering footage from nearby surveillance cameras. A security tape from the Waikiki Beach Resort showed a blurry figure leaving the lobby at 3:11 a.m. on January 17th. The person was pushing a pink suitcase matching the one recovered at the harbor. The figure wore a gray hoodie and aviator sunglasses, items friends later identified as belonging to Tate Nordenstam, the missing honeymooner from Minneapolis. The person's face was not visible. Police returned to the Waikiki Beach Resort and searched the room where Tate and his wife, Kirsten, had been staying. What they found confirmed their fears. Hidden under the bed were bloody flip-flops, and a hotel bath mat had reddish stains. The room had been cleaned, but forensics teams used Blue Star luminol spray to find traces of blood along the bathroom drain, on the tile grout, and around the bathtub. The brutal nature of the crime and the attempt to hide it shocked even the seasoned detectives. It was clear this wasn't a robbery or an accident. Someone had gone to great lengths to kill, cut up, and hide the body of Tate Nordenstam while staying at a luxury hotel on his honeymoon. Kirsten Nordenstam, 31, was the first person police focused on. She was Tate's new wife, and the two had just gotten married days before his body was found. Kirsten had once worked as a veterinary technician, but had recently switched careers. By late 2016, she was running a lifestyle blog focused on clean living and paleo meals. Her Instagram, filled with bright, filtered images of smoothies and travel selfies, had gained thousands of followers. She even had a new partnership deal with a company that sold high-end water bottles infused with healing stones. Her online life looked perfect, but police wanted to know what was happening behind the pictures. Kirsten told detectives that she and Tate had gotten into a big fight late on January 16th. She said it was about their honeymoon spending. Tate had supposedly used the credit card for expensive drone gear without asking her. According to Kirsten, he became angry and violent, then left the hotel and never came back. She said she stayed in the room, crying and scared, unsure what to do. At first, the detectives listened carefully, but when they searched the hotel room, they found problems with her story. Bloody flip-flops were hidden under the bed. There was no sign of forced entry or struggle. A stained hotel bath mat was in the trash can, and forensic tests found blood traces in the shower drain. The couple's pink Samsonite honeymoon luggage was also missing one large piece, matching the suitcase pulled from the Ala Moana boat harbor. Detectives also got a warrant for Kirsten's laptop, which she had left in her carry-on bag. A digital forensic team recovered deleted searches made just 2 days earlier. The most disturbing search was a phrase typed late at night: "How to dissolve human remains in ocean water." Other searches included bone, saw rental Oahu, and Ambien overdose symptoms. When detectives questioned Kirsten again, they noticed her mood was very controlled. She stayed calm and polite, giving short answers and rarely showing emotion. But when they asked about her brand deals, especially her new sponsor, she became uneasy. Her tone changed, and she became defensive when asked how much she stood to gain if Tate died. Police also learned that 3 weeks before the wedding, Kirsten had secretly taken out a $1 million life insurance policy on Tate. He had signed the paperwork during a dinner, not realizing what it was. The detectives wondered if money had been the true reason behind the marriage. Kirsten's social media presence showed a loving honeymoon, but her search history, missing suitcase, and strange behavior in interviews suggested something darker. Detectives began to believe that Kirsten may not have been just a grieving bride. She might have been planning something deadly all along. The second major suspect was Bryce Dumbald, a 21-year-old scuba diving instructor who worked at a small shop near Waikiki Beach. Bryce was tan, fit, and well-known in the tourist scene for leading popular underwater adventures like the shipwreck dive, which took visitors to sunken boats and coral reefs just off the coast of Oahu. Tate and Kirsten had taken that exact excursion 2 days before Tate disappeared. Bryce had a charming, laid-back personality and was used to attention from women. Police soon learned that Kirsten had struck up a flirtation with Bryce during the dive, and it escalated quickly. Under questioning, Bryce admitted that he and Kirsten had sex on the night before Tate went missing. He claimed that after their last encounter, he drank several beers, passed out in a hammock outside his beachside hut, and woke up alone the next morning. Detectives were immediately suspicious. Bryce's alibi was vague and hard to prove. There were no witnesses to confirm he had been asleep outside all night. His hut, located behind a dive shack a few blocks from the resort, was searched. Inside, police found several dive knives, wetsuits, and scuba gear. Some of the knives were serrated and similar in size and shape to the weapon used to stab Tate, but none of them had any blood or DNA traces. Still, the match in style raised eyebrows. During the search, police also found something unexpected: paperwork, phone records, and emails linked to an adult film company based in Honolulu. Bryce had been secretly performing in adult movies. He used the money to help pay his rent, which he had been struggling with. The revelation added a new layer to his personality and brought new questions about his relationship with Kirsten and his role in Tate's death. When detectives questioned Bryce about his adult film career, his calm attitude began to shift. He fidgeted, avoided eye contact, and gave short answers. Though he remained generally cooperative, he grew visibly nervous when asked if Kirsten had told him about any life insurance policies or plans to leave her husband. He said she hadn't, and denied having anything to do with Tate's disappearance or murder. Police couldn't tie Bryce directly to the crime scene, and he had no criminal record. But his close physical relationship with Kirsten, combined with the suspicious timing of Tate's death, kept him high on the list of people of interest. The detectives believed that even if Bryce hadn't killed Tate himself, he may have known more than he was saying, or had been used as part of a larger plan. On the morning of January 23, 2017, a light drizzle fell over Honolulu, and the sky was cloudy and gray. Just after 10 a.m., a new piece of evidence arrived at the prosecutor's office, something that would change the direction of the investigation. Phil Graham, a private investigator hired by Tate Nordenstam's family, had delivered a flash drive. Tate's parents, still grieving back in Minneapolis, had been suspicious of Kirsten's behavior and hired the investigator to look deeper into her past. What the investigator found was unexpected. The flash drive contained a video recorded by Madison Stedding, Kirsten's former college roommate at the University of Southern California. Madison, 30, worked as a reality TV editor in Los Angeles. She had been invited by Kirsten to join the Hawaii honeymoon trip as a bonus photographer to help create social media content. But it turned out Madison had done much more than just take pictures. The video showed Tate sitting alone on a balcony at the resort. The ocean waves could be heard in the background. In the video, Tate admitted to cheating on Kirsten with several women, one of them being Madison herself. He looked nervous and tired. The date on the file showed it was recorded just 2 days before his death. The detectives now believed that Kirsten had seen this video the night before Tate was killed. It gave them a new theory, that the murder may not have been fully planned, but rather sparked by a moment of emotional rage after Kirsten saw the betrayal. But that wasn't the only twist. Text messages later found on Madison's phone revealed even more. She had been texting frequently with Bryce Dumbald, the scuba instructor Kirsten had been sleeping with. Their messages showed that they both knew about the video. They hinted that Kirsten was about to come into money because of a life insurance policy and suggested that if she got paid, they should get a share of it too. This new discovery gave police a bigger picture of what may have happened. While Kirsten was now the top suspect for killing Tate, it was becoming clear that the people around her, Madison and Bryce, were not just innocent bystanders. They had their own motives and may have been part of a plot to pressure Kirsten, possibly pushing her over the edge. Detectives Leah Lahela and Joe Ramos reviewed the timeline again. They now believed that Kirsten killed Tate alone, but Madison and Bryce had both played roles in covering it up or trying to profit from it afterward. The flash drive and the text became key pieces of evidence, giving the case a new, darker layer. Madison Stedding was 30 years old in January 2017. She worked in Los Angeles as a video editor for reality TV shows, helping produce content for cable networks like Bravo and E! She had met Kirsten Nordenstam during their time as students at the University of Southern California, where they briefly shared an off-campus apartment and once explored a short-lived sexual relationship. The two women kept in touch over the years, and Madison was invited to Hawaii to join Kirsten and Tate on their honeymoon as a bonus photographer, supposedly to help film extra wedding content for Kirsten's growing lifestyle brand. To hotel staff, Madison seemed friendly but kept mostly to herself. She had a sharp sense of humor and was often seen wearing large sunglasses and scrolling through her phone near the pool. She brought with her expensive camera gear and even a handheld gimbal, saying she was there to capture moments for Kirsten's blog and YouTube posts. But her behavior became questionable on the night Tate went missing. Just hours before Tate was last seen, Madison posted several strange and suggestive selfies on her private Instagram account. One post, tagged at the Waikiki Beach Resort, featured a photo of an empty lounge chair next to 2 glasses of wine, suggesting she hadn't been alone that night. She flew back to Los Angeles early the next morning, boarding a Hawaiian Airlines flight just after 9 a.m. without saying goodbye to hotel staff or offering any help when police began asking questions. When detectives reached out to Madison later that week, she refused to talk. For nearly 3 weeks, she declined calls from Honolulu police and ignored emails from the prosecutor's office. Her lawyer claimed she was under emotional stress and couldn't speak yet. However, a search warrant for her cloud storage led the detectives to dozens of saved videos, photos, and messages, including the now infamous clip of Tate admitting to cheating on Kirsten. Even more concerning were text messages between Madison and Bryce Dumbald, the scuba instructor Kirsten had slept with. The text showed the two were planning to use the cheating video to pressure Kirsten, knowing she might soon receive a large insurance payout after Tate's death. Madison denied having anything to do with the murder, but couldn't explain why she was working with Bryce or why she flew home so quickly. Police did not have enough to charge Madison with murder, but they believed she helped hide the truth and possibly manipulated Kirsten in her most emotional moment. Her role in the days leading up to and after Tate's death was filled with secrets, lies, and betrayal. On the morning of February 1st, 2017, just after 9:40 a.m., officers from the Honolulu Police Department traveled to a remote wellness retreat on the island of Maui. It was a luxury beachfront resort known for its juice cleanses, yoga classes, and guided meditation. That morning, they arrested 31-year-old Kirsten Nordenstam, who was lounging near the infinity pool in a blood-red bikini. Witnesses said she didn't seem shocked. She calmly stood, put on her sunglasses, and walked toward the officers without argument. By this point, the detectives had built a strong case. Forensic teams had discovered large traces of blood in the Waikiki Beach Resort hotel room Kirsten had shared with her husband Tate. Some of the blood was hidden under the bed and behind the bathroom sink. The detectives also found traces of crushed Ambien, prescribed under Kirsten's name, in Tate's toxicology report, showing that he had been drugged before his murder. Tate's severed body parts were found stuffed inside a pink suitcase. Inside the suitcase were hotel towels, clearly labeled with the resort's logo, which further tied the murder back to their honeymoon suite. One of the most damaging pieces of evidence was digital. Police uncovered a deleted laptop search for how to dissolve human remains in seawater. That laptop belonged to Kirsten. They also discovered surveillance footage from the hotel's back exit. Around 3:11 a.m., someone wearing Tate's hoodie, aviator sunglasses, and flip-flops was seen wheeling the suitcase out of the building. The figure's height and walk matched Kirsten's. DNA testing later showed Kirsten's blood was on the sandals Tate had been wearing the day before he vanished. Kirsten had also quietly purchased a $1 million life insurance policy on Tate just 3 weeks before their wedding. The policy would go into effect the moment they were officially married. Tate's family, who lived in Minnesota, were heartbroken to learn this. His younger sister, Selma, had been suspicious from the start. She told authorities that Kirsten seemed more focused on creating content for her lifestyle brand than spending time with Tate. Detectives believe Kirsten's motive was a mix of money and the desire to start a new life, possibly with Bryce Dumbald, the scuba instructor she had been secretly involved with. The arrest shocked social media followers, many of whom had been fans of Kirsten's paleo recipes and wellness tips. Kirsten was flown back to Honolulu under guard, where she was booked into jail and charged with murder. She was held without bail as the case moved toward trial. Kirsten Nordenstam's trial began in June 2019 at the First Circuit Court in Honolulu. The case attracted national media attention, with reporters from outlets like Dateline and BC, Inside Edition, and ABC's 2020 flying in to cover the courtroom drama. The courtroom was packed every day, with Tate Nordenstam's family sitting in the front row, dressed in black and wearing yellow ribbons to honor his memory. The lead prosecutor, Amanda Chong, age 43, was known across Hawaii for her quiet but strategic style. She told the jury that Kirsten had planned Tate's death for months. She explained how Kirsten charmed and manipulated people like Bryce Dumbald, the scuba instructor, and Madison Stedding, her college roommate, to help her carry out the crime and cover it up afterward. Chong showed the jury photos, texts, and video clips, including a few from Tate's camera and from Madison's flash drive, to tell the full story. On the other side of the courtroom sat defense attorney Vera Olson, 42, who had handled several high-profile domestic violence cases before. She argued that Kirsten had suffered years of abuse from Tate and finally broke after seeing the cheating video recorded by Madison. She told the court that Kirsten had snapped in a moment of rage and fear. But there were no medical records or police reports showing that Tate had ever been violent toward Kirsten. In fact, their friends, family, and neighbors had said the opposite. Tate was known for being gentle, upbeat, and always eager to help others. Kirsten took the stand herself during the second week of the trial. Wearing a beige suit and no makeup, she spoke calmly but often broke into tears. She told the jury that Tate was abusive and cruel and that no one really knew what their relationship was like behind closed doors. However, her testimony didn't match the evidence. Prosecutors showed hotel security footage of Kirsten dragging the pink suitcase, text to Bryce discussing her future life insurance payout, and even notes from her deleted laptop search history, which included dark and disturbing phrases. When the jury went into deliberation, it took them only 3 hours to return a unanimous verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced Kirsten Nordenstam to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom was silent as the sentence was read. Kirsten showed no emotion. Tate's parents, siblings, and friends were relieved by the outcome, but they said it didn't bring their son back. His sister Selma told local news that they were thankful for justice but would never truly find peace. Hey, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like our content and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. Do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe. After the trial ended in June 2019, Kirsten Nordenstam was sent to the Women's Community Correctional Center in Kailua, Hawaii, where she remains today. She is serving a life sentence with no chance of parole. Sources inside the prison say she has kept a low profile and mostly keeps to herself. She reportedly started a small book club with other inmates, focused on self-help books and romantic thrillers. Kirsten no longer has access to her social media platforms or brand partnerships. Her once popular lifestyle blog is now offline. Her social media accounts were taken down soon after the verdict, and her former sponsors distanced themselves completely from the case. Bryce Dumbald, the scuba instructor who admitted to sleeping with Kirsten the night before Tate disappeared, was never charged with any crime. Still, his life changed dramatically. The dive tour company where he worked shut down only weeks after Kirsten's arrest. Customers left negative reviews, and the business couldn't recover from the media attention. Bryce now lives on Maui and reportedly works at a sports bar under a new name. Locals say he keeps to himself and avoids talking about the past. Madison Stedding also avoided criminal charges, but her career in reality TV took a major hit. After returning to Los Angeles, she deleted her Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube accounts. She left her job in post-production editing, and although she hasn't spoken publicly, tabloid magazines have spotted her attending celebrity parties and film festivals. Some reports say she's trying to break into screenwriting, but nothing official has been released. Detective Leah Lahila, one of the lead investigators on the case, was promoted to captain in late 2020. She continues to work with the Honolulu Police Department and speaks at local colleges about homicide investigations. Her partner on the case, Detective Joe Ramos, chose to retire in early 2021 after decades of service. Friends say the Nordenstam case took a toll on him emotionally. Tate Nordenstam's memory still lives on through his YouTube channel. His younger sister Selma now manages the account. On Tate's birthday each year, she posts tribute videos made with clips from his camera footage. His final video, which he was editing before he died, is titled Love You Forever. Though unfinished, the video was uploaded with soft Hawaiian music and photos from his wedding. The comments section is filled with messages from strangers and friends who say his joy, passion, and kindness continue to inspire them. A dream honeymoon became a nightmare of lies, lust, and murder. In paradise, darkness found a way in. Tate Nordenstam didn't die by accident or chance. He died at the hands of the woman he loved most. And while justice may have been served, the scars left behind will never fully fade.